Hello, my MFA 507 students, and welcome to Module 6. Yay! So, we are looking forward to doing some fun stuff in this module. Actually, this has got a really good discussion board, which I'm looking forward to dealing with beginnings and endings. And we're going to do a book review. So, let's go ahead and jump right to it and see what's going on. So, beginnings and endings. Okay, so for this module, we're going to talk about beginnings and endings of a selected work and also the strengths and weaknesses of a narrative work. That's kind of the goals, the learning objectives. And the module at a glance is that, again, we're going to be working on a discussion where we talk about the beginnings and endings of books. And there is a book review, which we kind of introduced in Module 5, and we'll get to the details on that. I'm going to let you read this next page of the overview kind of on your leisure. It does give a good reference to the Lovely Bones and talks about basically how beginnings and endings really impact overall the effectiveness of a book, and some things that we can personally like and not like or whatever. So just read through this to kind of get insight of what's going on that general concept of beginnings and endings. I don't want to read through this and then have you listen to it. Anyway, I read that. All right, so that's the module overview. All right, getting to the readings and resources, I have verified that all the links work. Again, these are great resources to help you kind of understand. It gives you more insight on beginnings and endings. I will post a separate video on beginnings and endings just as insight, because that's just what I do, just to help you guys out. So watch for another video, which will be posted in the announcement sections, some insight on some beginnings and endings, my general concept, a little fun story that goes with that, maybe a couple of examples from something that I've written, because they've asked us to do that as professors, is to share stuff about our own work that shows intellectual presence, that we know what we're talking about. So if you're wondering why, am I trying to sell my books to you guys? No, absolutely not. Am I trying to say, hey, this is what I experienced? Yes, I am. All right, moving on. Okay, so there are, before we get started, make sure you review this. Yeah, special attention to your instructions announcements. So this is the first announcement, and then I'll give you additional resources. I will post a video basically on beginnings and endings. All right, now let's get to the deliverables. The first one is the discussion. Woohoo! So you should have finished reading, or you're pretty close to reading at least one of the books from your paired list, although it does say you can use one from another class that you've already read to use this discussion. And this talks mainly about beginnings and endings. Now, please understand that we are talking about both. So we don't want to spend our whole discussion here just on beginnings. We also want to focus on endings and really how they kind of connect. Okay, but it does ask some very good questions here. About does the beginning tell you what kind of point of view is going on? How effective did you find? It uses this little fun word right here, just beginning first few lines of the text. First few lines of the text are hugely important. Okay, just go ahead and read through these different elements over here, and okay, how do you act at the ending? Again, this is fun. Whenever I finish a book, I'm kind of like, it's almost like at the end of a meal. Do I feel satisfied, or do I feel like, man, I really want to go back for seconds? Or do I feel like, man, why did I eat that? Anyway, there it is what it is. So just kind of look over these questions, kind of pose them into this discussion, really about beginnings and endings, your own thoughts on them, what you liked from the books you've read, what you kind of maybe want to do for your own. Okay. Give your peers some ideas on how their observations might become part of their own writing strategy for you and them. And again, so there's more on beginnings and endings in that other video, which I will post. Okay. And then the big thing we get to do this week, the fun thing, is the book review, which we kind of introduced last week, which is the book review assignment. Okay. So to begin the assignment, to read the full prompt, guideline submissions, and grading rubric here. When you have finished your work, submit the assignment here for grading. Boom, add attachments. I guess that's where we do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down the rubric for this book review. Okay, so it's really, that can be intimidating. When we kind of introduced it back in Module 5, it looked like there's going to be this gigantic thing. It's really actually not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it. So again, you're going to choose a book that you either read for this course, or one that you may have chosen from you've read before this course. Okay, but it needs to be a book that you have completed. It can't be one that you are going to be that you're halfway through. And you're going to basically provide a summary and assess its strengths and weaknesses. Okay, but how do I do that? Okay, so let's just kind of see. So again, when I go to grade these, did you provide the title, author, and the genre of the work? So pick a book. What's the name? Who wrote it? What's the genre that you would define of it? Okay, boom, you got that. Okay. Who is the main characters and how do they affect the story? Okay, well, the main character, if it's first person, would be, generally them. And how are they affected? Well, it's their story. They're coming of age or whatever. How do they affect the story? Are they observers to what's going on? Are they integral parts to what's going on? Do their actions change everything, or do the actions of people around them or the situations around them affect them? So something to think about there. Theme and style. So the good thing is that we've talked about theme and style. So what is the theme? Okay, what is the theme of this book? And again, the theme or themes basically are from your own personal view based with textual evidence. So again, since this needs to be 2 to 3 pages in length, what I would suggest is you'd have some kind of a lot of the meat and potatoes, as it were, of your paper here. What is the theme? Why? Maybe some quotes from here that back that up. And again, is it effective? Is the theme that that you're perceiving the author to write, did it work? Okay. I mean, or do they come across as very preachy or heavy-handed? Are they coming across as someone who is delusional or radical or something like that? Is it targeted for a particular audience? Okay. Is it a very small group, very tight knit group of that is, I would, who is the audience would you say is for that? And then the last one is the evaluation of the work. This work is just a little tricky. I don't want to see here, it was good or it was bad. Okay. What worked for you as a reader? Okay. And, I liked how they developed this. I liked their pacing. I liked their point of view. I liked how the chapters were short or the chapters were long. I liked how they used the, description, whatever worked for you, okay? And how does that compare with other, stuff in the genre? And then it's the other thing is if it introduced the concept of theme, did it really develop it, okay? And how effective was it? So these two kind of go together. And then this is a very interesting question. Did the book appeal to you on an emotional or a logical level? Wow, what an excellent question. There are a lot of books that have gotten me to think quite a bit afterwards from a very logical. I'm not overly emotional as a person, but there are times that I've read books that have left me in tears or left me smiling or left me depressed. And then I have to go back and figure out why and how did the author pull that off. So these are the kind of things. So basically, as long as these are kind of the good questions to kind of prompt how you're going to put it in your work. As long as you're abundantly clear on each of these, you'll get full agreement on this. If you're vague, and again, a great way to be agree is if you state something, give an example. State something, give an example, okay? That is the best way to back it up completely, clearly, and thoughtfully. Okay, you have given me a reason. You've made a statement, and you've backed it up with something. That would be the easiest way to do it. So, that is the book report. Again, 2 to 3 pages in length. As long as you hit these points, and you're going to be in good shape. Okay, so there's that. And then, just as a prompt, as a heads up, that's out of order, but it is what it is. And then, just as a peek into Module 7. Okay, actually, and beyond. For the final essay of this course, you will need to assemble a writer's toolkit of craft elements and incorporate an example of craft elements into a sample of your own writing. So as you're working on this other thing, start thinking about a sample of your work this week because it will be due next week as a draft in your toolkit. Okay, so it's something just to be aware of that's coming up. So that's it for week 6. Again, the 2 big deliverables are the discussion board where you're dealing with beginnings and endings, and then you have the book report. And again, please pull up the rubric, which you can access. And as long as you kind of go as a rubric as a guideline, because that's what I use to grade, then you are going to be in good shape. And so far, I've been very impressed with the insight you add as students have had it when they're answering the stuff that's on here. So there you go.